Hey there, Fletch from All Things Overlanding here, and today is the last episode of Season 6 of the year 2024 for the podcast. So today I'm going to be talking a little bit about what to look forward to in 2025. What do I see as trends that are going to be happening? What do I see as things that are already starting to happen in the industry that I think we can expect more from in 2025? So this is going to be a nice little wrap up to the year, I think. So we're going to get into things to expect, trends to look for in 2025 in this final episode of this year's podcast. So if you want to hear more about what I think is going to be coming in 2025, stay tuned.
Understand where it came from, but you got it, my got it. It began in the land of the sandstorm. I fought it, though I wanted everything to do with what you give to me. Loosening my grip.
All right, guys. So as I mentioned in the intro, today I'm talking about trends moving into 2025. It's been an awesome year. I've had some really cool trips, met some new people. The Patreon group has grown, and there are a bunch of cool people in there that we've been getting to spend time with, which has been really fun. So thank you. First of all, let me start this by saying thank you to all of you that listen regularly, that watch on YouTube, that engage on the social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, all over, wherever I'm at. I really appreciate you guys, and it's 100% true. Like, people are like, why do you, how much time does it take you per week to do this thing? And honestly, it's probably in the ballpark of like 20 to 25 hours a week, if I had to guess. I mean, a lot of nights, instead of playing video games or watching movies or hanging out with my kids, I'm sitting on the couch with my laptop in my lap, editing videos, or I'm going on a trip over a weekend and missing some kids' sports to shoot videos and stuff. So it does take a lot of time, a lot of investment to kind of do this. And again, your guys' stories, the fact that it's helping people is what really keeps me going. So again, thank you all for that. Where do I think we're going in 2025? What do I think we'll see more of? So I'm going to start by talking about sustainable gear. I feel like there's more and more of a trend going towards sustainable gear. Over the years, I have learned, I'm buying most of this cheap stuff that I can find on Amazon is what I have bought historically for like clothing and blankets and just everything. But everything's disposable nowadays, it feels like. However, in the overlanding space, I see a bunch of trends, a bunch of companies really embracing like recycling stuff and trying to decrease their carbon footprint and create products that are going to last for a really long time. And I'll give you some examples of that. There's companies like Ignik that are very, focused on the environment. Rumple, that make their blankets, right, out of like almost all post-consumer recyclable materials, which is awesome. They're taking stuff out of the environment that's polluting it and hurting it and turning it into useful stuff like blankets. So Rumple's another good example. This other company, Livesen, which I have linked in the description down below, they're awesome. They make like some of the best quality clothes that you've ever seen. And again, unlike like my Amazon jeans that last maybe 2 or 3 years and then have holes in them and they're faded and the waist is all stretched out and stuff, these Livesen clothes are really made to last a lifetime. And they give you a lifetime warranty against defects, actually. Now, obviously, eventually all things wear out, right? But these things should last 5, 6, 8, 10 times longer than like your normal stuff. They're more expensive up front. A lot of these things that are, more sustainable are going to be more expensive up front, but they're better for the environment. They last longer. You don't have to keep replacing stuff. You don't have to deal with failures and stuff. If you're on a winter trip and you rip a hole in your pants, having the better quality gear that is focused on sustainability in the long run saves you time and it saves you money. So, I see a lot more of that coming. I think we're going to see a lot more companies focused on environmental friendliness and long-term use of their products, not making things that are just going to fall apart and need to be replaced in a year or two. Next, I'm going to talk about what is, I'm sure, a very polarizing topic, and that is electric overlanding vehicles. Now, I can already hear the groans, and if you're listening on the podcast, jump over to Facebook or Instagram or one of my other social channels and kind of join the conversation, or jump into the Newbie Overlanders Facebook page, because I'll probably post this episode over there too, and you guys can chat about it. Or if you're on YouTube, post up in the comments down below and let me know your thoughts on electric vehicles. I personally am not an electric vehicle hater. I also understand the practical limitations of electrical vehicles. So like for me, I like to drive up to Michigan or Wisconsin or Kentucky or West Virginia or Virginia. You're talking 6 to 10 hour trips. if I had an electric vehicle and I had to stop every 4 hours or so to charge up for 45 minutes to an hour to get charged up, and then you also have to pay attention to where's the nearest charging station to where you're going to go off grid and go out into the wilderness so that you can be charged up because, God forbid you get out in the middle of nowhere and run out of juice, right? There are definitely some concerns and practicality issues with it. Gas is just easier right now. But, let's be honest, we are heading towards an electric future. It is more efficient. All you guys, I know you're, I'm an ICE guy too. I like the internal combustion engine. I love engine sounds. I love making combustion engines faster and meaner and growlier, right? Like we all love that stuff. But they can only get so efficient, right? Like we all hate auto start stop on our gas vehicles, but that is our way to reduce emissions. It's our way to potentially save a tiny bit of gas when you're commuting and stuff, right? Whereas electric vehicles can kind of just flip it on and off like a switch. They have more torque, they have more power, they have, for whatever reason, they all seem to be packed with technology, which in a lot of ways is beneficial. Being able to raise your suspension or lower your suspension, like on a Rivian, is really appealing to folks like me that daily drive the truck, but then go out and wheel it or overland it whenever we can, right? So there are a lot of appealing things about it. Where I see it going and where I hope that it goes, and this is more of a hope from me than like actual trend that I'm seeing in the industry, although we're definitely seeing more hybrids in general, but that is where my brain goes, man. If the Nissan Frontier or the Honda Frontier, if that's what it ends up being, the Honda Frontier, if they had like a hybrid option, if they kept that beautiful 3.8 liter V6 in there and that basically the same 9-speed transmission and then attached a hybrid power system to it that would allow you to do better in the city and stuff and extend your range, but you have the gas engine if your battery depletes or, whatever. If you're on trail all day and you've kind of eaten through your battery and you need to charge it back up with your alternator, a hybrid like that to me makes a ton of sense. I would love to see that. Give me the torque and the regular old power of the V6, but then give me that hybrid system to extend my range and make me more fuel efficient to just save me money in the long run, right? So that is where I would like to see it go. Now, I do think that we're going to see more Rivians. I think we're going to see more, probably not Cybertrucks. Sorry, if you're a Cybertruck person, I think they're stupid and I don't think they look good and I don't think they're useful off-road. I think they're hideous. Sorry. But Rivians are really cool, right? So I do think that we're going to see more and more electric vehicles kind of in the overlanding space, and I look forward to it. I hope that someday they kind of figure out that infrastructure, hopefully in my lifetime, and then I could have one, right? Like I would love to be like 65 and have this really nice loaded out Rivian that's really comfortable and nice and does everything that I need, and I could take it out on trails when I want and then drive it around town the rest of the time. So I think we're going to see more and more on the electric vehicle front. Nissan has had, the Leaf for years and years and years. I would love to see them do some more electric stuff. They've got the Aria now. So again, we're moving towards an electric future, and I want to see more of that in the off-road world. Okay, and then finally, to wrap this up, and I'm going to try and keep this one short. It's the end of the year, right? I want to let you guys go to get back to your lives, but technology, of course, has been like, since the Industrial Revolution, we've just been like increasing like a hockey stick, right? Just at a crazy pace. So I definitely see more and more of that. Things like Starlink, right? Like I recently got a Starlink. It's really freaking cool. It's nice to be able to be out on a mountain in Wyoming and be able to have 100 megabytes down of internet to be able to like work if you wanted to, or send messages to your significant other, or, check on your mom or whatever you want to do, right? To have that capability to map and do stuff that, again, before might have been dangerous or impossible. Now we have internet out in the middle of nowhere where you could actually map or contact, authorities if something happened and you needed help, or, there's just so much connectivity coming with all this technology. Same goes for vehicles, right? Like my Frontier is still way behind a lot of the other comparable mid-sized trucks from a technology standpoint, but I have an around view camera now. I have a front camera. I can see my passenger side tire with my camera facing down the side so that when I'm going over obstacles, it helps me have better visibility and be safer and place my tires better and take better lines, right? Crawl control, and the Toyotas have that, whatever it is, ATCS, ATRS, whatever the thing that will like sort of automatically control tires individually and help you get in and out of situations. That's really cool. And it makes it safer for us to off-road. It makes us so we can get to further places. We can get out to places that we couldn't get before maybe. And it's a lot of fun to play with that stuff too. It's also nice to have comfort, right? If you're going to be spending, at least in my case in the Midwest, I drive a minimum of like 4 to 6 hours, sometimes 8 to 10 hours to get to a destination to kind of go exploring, like in a Michigan or a Kentucky or a West Virginia or something. And having those creature comforts, having heated seats, having nice comfortable seats, having an infotainment system that I can play music on, right? That I can connect to, that will allow me to put my maps up on the screen. So I don't have to look at my phone. I can just see it right where it's safer on the big screen in my truck. All that stuff, I think, improves the experience. Now, I know we all want to disconnect. We all want to kind of get away. I totally get that. I'm not advocating for like take everything with you and like be on your phone the whole time when you're out in the wilderness, but it's nice to have the option. And I think that technology will continue to change it to where we're all safer. We can all get out further. We can, I'm excited about Starlink because I actually look forward to like using it to work. Like I literally want to go out and spend like 2 or 3 days in the middle of a week in the woods working off my Starlink so that I can still get my job done. I can still do my work, but I can be out in nature. I can be enjoying it. I can drink some beers at night and read a book or watch a show on my phone or something, and then sleep in my tent and enjoy the nice nature sounds and wake up the next morning and cook a good breakfast and then get back to work, right? So I like that idea of kind of it's unlimiting us. It's removing limitations that we had previously where maybe we wanted to work and maybe we even worked remote, but we couldn't do it from anywhere that didn't have Wi-Fi. You had to go to a Starbucks or McDonald's or stay at your house or a co-working space, right? Now you can go to the woods and do it because of technology, and I love that. So those were kind of my thoughts on what's coming in 2025. What are your guys' thoughts, right? If you, again, are on YouTube, post up in the comments down below. If you're on the podcast, hop over to any of my other channels, and I'd love to hear from you. Join the Newbie Overlanders group. It's totally free. There's like 21,000 people in it at the time I'm recording this, so it's growing every day, but it's different from the big groups. It's not full of bullies and stuff. Everybody wants to learn. We want to chat. We want to talk about overlanding. We enjoy it, so love to have you over there. Also on YouTube, below this video is a join button. That's just a passive way to support the channel, get you early access to the videos and things, some other perks too. So check that out. If you want a more active way to be involved with the channel, check out the Patreon link down below. That is awesome. We have a 24/7 Discord where we chat about our rigs and our gear. We do once a month Zoom call where we all kind of hang out. And then we're doing 1 or 2 trips a year to try and get together and just sit around a campfire. So that's a ton of fun. And then, of course, there's a link to my website down below that has funny patches and stickers. So overlanders love patches and stickers. There's things like don't burn your wiener and it's a hot dog, or I hate people so I camp. There's all things overlanding stickers and patches. So if you're into any of that stuff, it's a cool way to support the channel, but you also get something for it. So check that out. And then that'll do it for 2024. Thanks again to all of you guys for watching, for listening. I appreciate all of you, and I look forward to 2025. There's going to be a lot of cool stuff. I'm going to mix things up and try and go to some different shows. So definitely look for some new trip videos. Look for all kinds of stuff on the 3rd Gen Frontier, and then just a ton of gear stuff again, right? I'm a gear guy. I'm always going to be like, hey, check this out. Hey, look at this piece of gear. Hey, this is a cool flashlight, whatever. So definitely stay tuned, and make sure to hit that subscribe button if you're on YouTube, or again, if you are on the podcast, add it to your favorites, leave a 5-star review. So thanks again for watching. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next year.